I call Tracy Martin.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. Thank you very much. Can I just confirm or allay the fears of the Green Party member that New Zealand First Derek Ball is a member of Mensa and he actually understood the algebra that was in that bill. So New Zealand First was well informed. Thank you very much when it voted. Sir, New Zealand First is supporting this bill because New Zealand First believes it should be supported. And we would agree with Labour on some areas. We would agree with the Labour Party that it would be a good idea for the Commerce Commission to do an inquiry or a review around the $300 million spend. And I disagree with Melissa Lee when she made the wide waving hands and so on that you had to stop everything to do a review. I remind Ms Lee of the Digital Literacy Inquiry, which actually looked at the work of Network for Learning, where under the chairmanship, it was the Education and Science Select Committee under the chairmanship of Nikki Kay, and that inquiry changed the direction of the Network for Learning as it was still going. As it was still being developed, it identified that it was going in the wrong direction and shifted. And shifted direction so that it was a much better provider. We also would agree with the Labour Party around the need for small local SMEs to be part of this rollout, to be able to participate in the provision of the Rural Broadband Initiative. So, it interests me, sir, that on the 19th, so we're sitting here on the 21st of May. And on the 19th of May, the Warkworth Area Business Association put out this email across all its members. And the title of its email is Ultra-Fast Broadband Improvements. And it talks about the fact that on the 12th of March, much has been made that the industry didn't know it was coming. Much has been made that the industry didn't have an opportunity to be consulted. And again, I say, lobbyists for industries always have the number of ministers. I find it hard to believe that industry didn't call the minister's office and have a conversation about this. So it goes on to say that on the 12th of March, the government announced that this funding was coming. And I think what's pertinent to the bill that we're talking about, sir, and the conversation that's been said about whether there has been consultation, whether there has been review, whether there's going to be participation by the public is the other area that's been addressed. This email reads that the UFB2 funding is intended for rural towns. In order to make an informed decision about how to allocate funding, central government has invited local authorities, including Auckland Council, to submit a registration of interest. This is an opportunity to communicate to central government any issue with broadband and the level of demand for better services in rural Auckland. We would like your help to make sure that we get as much accurate information to government as possible. And the questions they ask are: a description of where you live, i.e. the boundary of your community, what your current internet service is like, what problems you have with your broadband connection, the extent of the problems, what demand for broadband services are like in your community. Please provide other information, and it's around business information and any other information that you want to provide register of interest for the funding for this service, for the broadband rollout. That is the Warkworth Area Business Association. That is a local group taking control and talking and sending information directly to government around how this is, what we are talking about tonight, what will be funded is delivered. And we take the minister's word. We take the minister's word that why this has needed to go through under urgency is because without the levy that has been there since 2011, without in legislation it being secured until 2020, there is no way the minister can then start a process of deciding how it will be spent and where it will be spent. So this is a process matter at the moment. And we agree that sometimes process needs to be short-circuited. In this instance, this is a continuation of a levy that has been in place for several years, that was fully consulted on, that the telcos knew were coming, and it is to continue to deliver what we know is needed. However, we do support many of the areas that the Labour Party has said. We just don't support their call to try and stop this bill tonight. we would support a call with a member on the, we have a member on the Commerce Select Committee, we would support a call from that committee to do a review or to do an inquiry and actually have a go at making sure that up to this point we're in the right direction. How could we possibly, while the Minister's consulting the communities, let's have a look at this, let's make some bright decisions. Let's not change just for the change's sake, but let's actually look at where we might be able to improve. Kia ora.